How many of you struggling to migrate the databases to cloud, maintain database performance, and reducing the cost? My name is Siva Subramaniam. I'm a senior database solution architect at AWS. As a trusted advisor to customers like you, I help with customers on database projects by providing architectural guidance on 15 plus AWS purpose-built database engines. I'm here today to show you how to migrate your SQL Server workloads to Amazon RDS for SQL Server. Let's begin. AWS provides several options for deploying SQL Server, catering to different levels of control, management, and licensing needs. If you are not looking for managed database service but simply want compute services, then you can lift and shift SQL Server onto EC2. However, in this option, all the tasks that you are performing today in the on-premises deployments continue to be managed in the same way. You will get full control of OS and DB access, but at the same time, you will assume responsibilities for provisioning, monitoring, backup and restore, point-in-time recovery, patching, and high availability. If you want to free yourself from these undifferentiated tasks, you can move to the option on the right with fully managed database experience for SQL Server on RDS. This way, you can now spend more time on adding value to your business by focusing on innovations. RDS SQL Server removes the burden by managing number of these tasks including high availability, automatic failover, backup and recovery, database upgrades, isolation and security, industry compliance, push button scaling, automated patching, advanced monitoring, and routine maintenance, to name a few. So now you only have to worry about the tasks that matter most to your application, such as schema design, query construction, and query optimization. In other hand, this option limits the access, so you won't get the access to sysadmin role in the database and the OS. For some use cases, this access limitation may not allow you to move to RDS managed database option. Workloads of legacy, custom, and packaged applications such as SharePoint, CRM, etc. may require privileged rights to the database and underlying operating system. For these requirements, RDS Custom is the best fit option. In this option, you can also bring your own media and licenses to manage SQL Server. With RDS Custom, you will get automation of RDS and the flexibility of EC2. For majority of the use cases, RDS SQL Server is the preferred option for managed database experience with optimized architecture, including automated HA and DR capabilities. Let's begin our demo about migrating a self-managed database to Amazon RDS SQL Server with minimal downtime. Today you will learn how to migrate your SQL Server workloads to Amazon RDS for SQL Server using SQL Server native backup and restore method. While there are many other migration options and tools, native backup restore method is commonly used to migrate SQL Server workloads. Please scan the QR code shown in the screen to know more about list of SQL Server database migration methods and tools. The first step in migrating your SQL Server workloads into Amazon RDS is that to perform discovery and assessment. First, we need to identify all the SQL Server features used in the source database environment that are compatible with Amazon RDS for SQL Server. Second, selecting appropriate RDS SQL Server compute and storage types. SQL Server Tools is a repository dedicated to helping customers to migrate their workloads into AWS. Aim of the project is to ease the journey to make migrations decisions easier through automation and tooling. RDS Discovery Tool is a lightweight tool that provides capability to scan fleet of on-premises SQL servers or EC2 instances. It conducts automated assessment for over 20 features, confirms the compatibility of enabled features with Amazon RDS for SQL Server, and produces a comprehensive report. The SQL Server Assessment Tool, on the other hand, streamlines evaluation of your on-prem, so SQL Server workloads to find necessary system utilization, proper sizing onto Amazon RDS for SQL Server. Let's see in action how we can use these tools to perform discovery and assessment for workloads you want to migrate from EC2 or on-prem into Amazon RDS for SQL Server. For this demo, we have deployed two EC2 servers. One is used as a jump box to connect to RDS for SQL Server. The other one, SQL Server deployed on EC2 machine itself. Let's get started by connecting to the SQL Server deployed on EC2. In order to connect, I am going to use remote desktop application to connect to EC2 machine, which is running the SQL Server database. Once you connect to the EC2 machine, let's connect to the SQL Server using SQL Server Management Studio. You have a source SQL Server running on EC2. I'm going to use Windows authentication to connect to this SQL Server. If you click on databases on the left hand side, you will see a couple of databases. One is SampleDB, another one is DB2, which we are going to migrate to RDS for SQL Server. Yes, the next step, let's use RDS Discovery tool to assess the SQL Server running on EC2 to migrate to RDS SQL Server. I have downloaded RDS tools from GitHub link and also extracted RDS tools folder here. Go to the folder called in and look at the file called servers, where you want to input the server names or IP addresses, which you want to access for this migration. I provided it as localhost because I'm going to run this tool on the same server where SQL Server is running. Let's open a PowerShell. This tool needs some of the SQL Server modules to be installed before running this tool. I'm going to install those modules as needed. Once you install the SQL Server module, let's run the tool. The tool provides now the output with current configuration of running SQL Server Developer Edition, and also you have 4 vCPUs, 25 GB memory, and instance type as M5D. Also, it says it's compatible for RDS SQL Server. That means the particular SQL Server can be migrated to RDS SQL Server. And also it can be migrated for RDS custom for SQL Server. And also if you are running this SQL Server on premises, this tool also can evaluate and provide assessment whether it can be migrated to EC2 or not. In this case, this is also can be migrated to SQL Server on EC2 as well. It provides other information such as whether replicas configured or not. You have any enterprise features used on the current SQL Server where you can optimize that during migration by converting into SQL Server Standard Edition. Now we can use SQL Server Assessment tool to collect some performance metrics such as CPU, memory utilization from SQL Server running on EC2 or on premises. This tool will help you to right size the RDS for SQL Server part of this migration based on your current source database utilization. Let's get into PowerShell and run the SQL Server Assessment tool using following command. This tool uses Windows authentication and also it runs for servers listed in servers.txt and then it runs for 10 minutes. Once it's executed for 10 minutes, if you want to terminate this collection work, you can run this tool with the T option, which will terminate this assessment tool running and collecting the data. Also, you have a option C, which can be used to clean up these current jobs, which are running and assessing SQL Server on EC2 or on premises. As soon as you run the cleanup job, it opens a report based on the last 5 or 10 minutes collection, and it provides current utilization percentage or numbers. It also says RDS instance type for RDS SQL Server, which can be used when you migrate. Please scan the QR code shown in the screen to know more about migration steps and RDS discovery and assessment tools. Thanks again for watching this. Happy migrating into AWS Cloud.